Rain beat the city sideways, a silver curtain that made the air feel heavy enough to drown in. I sat behind the wheel, knuckles white, watching the gold letters on the glass. Dawson and Price, counselors at law. The building loomed between the dark ribs of Langston Plaza, downtown Chicago humming dull beneath the storm. My name is Kiana Rhodes. I'm 33, and today I'm walking my mother into the room where my grandmothers will get read. Grandma Evelyn died 4 days ago, and the syllables feel like glass in my mouth. I ironed calm into my Air Force Service dress this morning, whispering steady into the mirror, trying to stitch courage into seams already splitting. It didn't hold. I felt like stepping into a firefight without knowing where the muzzle flashes would bloom. "Mama," I said. Her hand trembled on my sleeve. "We do this for her." We climbed the slick steps, rain numbing my fingers. That's when I saw him. My father, Leonard, bone dry under the stone overhang, navy suit sharp, silver hair obedient, eyes amused like court was theater, and he had the best seat. And beside him, Tiana Cole, 25, dress cut like a dare, cradling a newborn whose tiny fists punctuated the moment. My gut lurched. Suspicion was one thing. Seeing the headline printed in a stranger's arms was another. "Please like, subscribe, and tell me where you're watching from." Tiana leaned into Leonard as if the storm existed for their entrance. Lipstick unbothered, edges precise, she smiled across wet marble with the kind of brightness that wanted to be watched. Their shoulders touched. The baby gave a squeak and settled, as if even he understood this wasn't a day for joy. Leonard's eyes met mine, flat as the winter lake. He didn't flinch. He didn't do flinching. Same look he wore when he told me no daughter of his belonged in fatigues. Same look when my marriage bled out and he counted my failures like coins. He smoothed his cuff and let the smirk tighten. I almost let the rain sweep me backward. Almost. Then memory threaded through the noise, Grandma Evelyn's fingers on mine, warm June light, her voice. "You're built from stronger cloth than they see." The sentence snapped me straight. I hooked Mama's arm tighter. Her mouth quivered, chin high anyway. We walked past them without a word. Past the cologne he wore like a weapon. Past her smile sharpened to a blade. The glass door sighed open. Warmth and the faint smell of lemon oil and coffee washed over us. The receptionist, all gray blazer and perfumed professionalism, lifted her face. "Rhodes Estate." "Yes," I said. My signature didn't shake. The corridor muffled everything, thick carpet swallowing footfalls, amber sconces blurring rain light on dark oak. It felt like walking toward judgment rather than paper. A young assistant opened the conference room, and the air turned colder, richer, the kind of room built to bend backs. Mahogany stretched like a runway. Leather chairs towered. Books lined 2 walls, spines uncracked, smelling of dust and old promises. I took a seat at the side, spine straight, palms folded. Mama slid in beside me, her fingers seeking mine under the table, a small anchor in rough water. Across from us, Leonard reclined, ankle on knee, fingers drumming the wood in a rhythm I knew too well. Tiana perched close, that baby tucked in her elbow, her smile bright enough to catch on glass. "Kiana," she said, syrup sweet. "You look composed." I blinked once. Nothing for her to feed on. The door opened again. Mr. Price entered, silver glasses, leather case, voice low enough to butter stone. He set a thick folder down with a reverence that read less like grief than gravity. Before he opened it, something else slid into view, a cream envelope, edges softened, my name written in Grandma's slanted, deliberate hand. My breath stalled. The room didn't notice. I couldn't look away. Marines don't flinch, I used to say to myself when the bullets weren't metaphor. Air Force or not, I borrowed the posture now. I kept my hands still, though my pulse bucked hard enough to count seconds. The envelope rested by Mr. Price's elbow like a quiet witness. The chandelier hummed. Somewhere behind us, a clock kept time with the storm. "Thank you for coming," Mr. Price said. "We're here for the reading of the last will and testament of Evelyn May Rhodes." He looked from Leonard to Tiana to Mama, then settled on me a beat longer, recognition, not pity. Tiana leaned forward, adjusting the baby for the camera no one had brought. Mr. Price, Ms. Rhodes made her wishes clear to Leonard. This won't take long, right? Everything you need is in the document, he said, smile unreadable. Mama's shoulders pulled tight. She hadn't spoken since the door opened. Her thumb traced the back of my hand, the way she used to smooth my curls before Sunday service when thunder rolled. It's okay, I whispered. She nodded, eyes glossy. Mr. Price opened the folder. Pages whispered, like dry leaves.
He paused.
There is also a sealed, personal letter to be read aloud after the will. His fingers rested on the envelope with my name. The air shifted. Even Leonard's smile flick. The legal cadence started, steady as rain on tin, sound mind and memory, revoking all prior wills, witnessed and notarized. Leonard eased further back, playing patience for the camera in his mind. Tiana let her silk scarf slide between her fingers, curating her frame. The baby sighed like a squeaky hinge and slept on. Assets rolled by like inventory in a warehouse. The Bronzeville brownstone, the lake cabin in Michigan, investment accounts, heirlooms, digital miscellany. Numbers dressed up as nouns, glitter without heat. My eyes stayed on the cream envelope. My mind slipped elsewhere. Back to Grandma's kitchen, light pooling on laminate, the smell of butter in a skillet. Her cardigan the color of oatmeal, sleeves pushed to thin wrists. The blue tin of lemon cookies she swore weren't store-bought. You're holding your breath again, baby, she'd say, pouring tea, seeing straight through any performance I had. Breath don't make storm stop. Just makes you dizzy. I laughed then, brittle. I don't want to make a big thing of it. Of what? She asked, never giving me an exit. Feeling small, I'd whispered. She stirred her tea. Quiet ain't small, she said. Folk who need you quiet like to pretend those are twins. In the conference room, the clock tapped on. The envelope waited like a heartbeat I could hear only when everything else stilled. Mr. Price's finger traced clauses, his pen clicking soft. Liabilities satisfied before distribution, charitable gifts executed, a memorandum regarding personal effects. Leonard nodded when it suited him, face practiced into amiable power. Tiana tilted the baby just enough to reveal a gold-stitched crown on the blanket's edge. Branding even here. The letter will be read after provisions, Mr. Price said again for the record. Tiana's smile thinned. Leonard's jaw moved once, like the bit didn't fit. Grandma's last call came back to me, a Tuesday I might have mislaid if not for the way her voice threaded straight into my ribs. If I wrote something down, would you listen better? I always listen, I'd said, and she'd exhaled a soft yes that felt like a blessing. That's exactly why. Now Mr. Price turned a page. Paper rasped like sand. We'll proceed to allocations. Leonard leaned in. Let's be efficient then. Section by section, Mr. Price replied, gentle but edged. Leonard leaned back, masking the flinch with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Mama's breath hitch was tiny, but I felt it. In our house, swallowing had been its own language. Swallow and smile. Swallow and step aside. I threaded my fingers through hers under the table and didn't let go. To my son, Leonard Isaiah Rhodes, Mr. Price read, voice even, I leave the portrait of his late father currently displayed in the study. The words floated, then landed like a stone through glass. Leonard froze, then blinked slow. The portrait, he repeated, tasting insult like metal. Tiana's head snapped, glossed mouth parting. Surely. We'll continue, Mr. Price said. To Ms. Tiana Cole, no specific bequest is made. Her smile collapsed to a thin, glittering line. She tightened her hold on the baby. He stirred, unsatisfied. And to Kiana Rhodes, Mr. Price said, clear enough to split the room, I leave the remainder of my estate. The Bronzeville residence, the Lake Allegan cabin, all investment and cash accounts, heirloom jewelry, and any remaining physical or digital assets. Sound left the room. Then the storm found us again all at once. Leonard's chair scraped. Read that again, he snapped. Mr. Price did. Calm made his words heavier. Mama's grip bruised sweet. A sob hitched and then broke from somewhere deep. Kiana stared at me like I'd stolen a future from her hands. Leonard's face turned a shade that wanted sirens. This is absurd, he spat. Evelyn knew her duty, legacy. She chose, Mr. Price said, closing the folder with care that felt like steel. Kiana threw the baby forward as proof. She said the family name had to carry on. She said our son. The will names no heir by that description, Mr. Price replied. If Ms. Rhodes declines, the remainder will fund Southside Story House, a literacy trust your mother helped found. Grandma hadn't mentioned it out loud. A small brick building off 63rd, windows hand-painted with sunflowers, paper cranes hanging from fishing wire. She'd volunteered there on Tuesdays when her knees allowed. She called it her church. So either she, Kiana cut her eyes at me, takes it or the money goes to some storefront library? A community foundation, Mr. Price corrected. And yes. Leonard stood, fists tight enough to pale his knuckles. Unacceptable. My mother would never. She did, Mr. Price said, for the first time letting the line close hard. Signed. Witnessed. It will stand. Silence, filled with things breaking without sound. The baby squeaked. Rain softened by comparison. Mama bowed forward and let the years roll off her in tears she didn't pack back down. I wrapped her, let her shake, didn't say be strong. There are times when strength looks like choosing to sob. Mr. Price touched the envelope. This is where Ms. Rhodes wished to be heard. I looked at my name in blue ink and felt a door inside me ease open. He slid a letter opener under the cream and lifted the flap with care. 1 page, heavy stock. Ink the deep ocean blue Grandma used for recipe cards and birthday checks she refused to send electronically. To my Kiana, Mr. Price read. Mama's breath caught. Leonard stared at the table like he could change wood into water and drown his reflection. Kiana's chin tilted, armor looking for a seam. If you're hearing this, I'm on my back porch in my mind. Plastic chair that leans, coffee that's gone cold, gospel humming low from the kitchen radio. I picture your hands folded tight the way you do when you're trying to stop the tremble. Baby, I know that look. I wore it once. I didn't do this to punish Leonard. I did it because hope can turn into a lie you make other folks live in. He chose shine over truth, applause over care, control over love. That broke me real quiet. But I mended. Leonard exhaled through his nose, his tell. Mr. Price read on. As for you, Kia, you've spent years walking slow so folks who feared your stride could keep up. That ain't living. You never asked me for anything but time. You brought me tea and stories and silence that didn't judge. I'm not rewarding you. I'm freeing you. I know about a house where your name came last, the letter said. About perfume that didn't belong to your mama. About vacations explained by charm. They called you dramatic for noticing. You weren't. You kept your dignity. You worked. You didn't make a stage out of your wounds. I trust that more than I trust money. Leonard, if you're listening and you are, this is my last lesson. Charisma ain't character. Control ain't care. A mother can love her boy and still refuse to feed him with other people's lives. Mr. Price paused. The storm hushed itself to hear. There's a portrait you like of your daddy. Take it. It belongs with you. The rest, I'm putting in the hands that never asked. If Kiana declines, it goes to the little room on 63rd where a shy girl finds a book that looks like a mirror. That room held me when my life was too tight. It'll hold others. Houses and accounts won't make you brave. But they can buy you time, and time is the currency for becoming. Spend it where your soul grows. Don't waste it convincing folks who came to stay unconvinced. Mr. Price's voice softened. Paper only matters because of the hands that carry it. Carry this well. You'll want to apologize when you choose. Grandma's handwriting continued, looping firm. Don't. People who love you won't need an invoice. Keep those people. The rest will starve when your boundaries stop feeding them. I ask this to be read aloud because truth gets bartered down to polite in rooms like this. Consider this my last impolite act and my best manners. I loved you, Leonard. That don't expire. But I won't mortgage anybody else to cover your debts. And you, Kia, there's a sweet potato pie recipe behind the flour. It's nothing special. Add more butter and more nutmeg. Serve it warm to somebody who looks like the day's been on their back. If nobody shows, serve it to yourself. Use the good mugs.
Chip them.
That's how you know a thing lived. Quiet women carry heavy truths. Set them down where they can rest. Yours loud and unashamed, Evelyn. No one clapped. The thunder rolled far off. Mama laughed on a sob, a sound like a lock turning at last. Kiana worked at remaking her face. Leonard didn't look up. Ms. Rhodes asked that you keep this, Mr. Price said, offering the page. I took it with both hands, slid it back into the envelope, felt its weight, small enough to misplace, heavy enough to anchor a life. This is theater, Leonard said, voice gravel and heat. It's a will, Mr. Price replied, civility polished to iron. Kiana found her bite. You won't get away with this, she said to me, brittle and bright. We'll contest. You can try, I said. You'll lose. It wasn't triumph. It felt like setting a fragile thing back on the right shelf. Mama lifted her damp face. She saw us, she whispered, all the way through. I know, I said, and the knowing landed like light filling a room I'd only ever crossed in the dark. Mr. Price stacked pages, capped his pen. Unless there are procedural questions, we're concluded. Tiana's chair screeched. The baby cried, startled by the scrape. She flinched and threw Leonard a look edged with blame. He reached for her elbow. She shrugged it off. They left without looking back. The door side shut. Rain softened to a silver veil. I tucked the envelope into my bag, stood, knees steady. Offered Mama my arm. She took it. Not from weakness, but because the day had asked to be carried, and she'd finally handed it over. At the threshold, I looked once at the long table. The books nobody read, the chandelier tired of shining. For other families, tomorrow it'd be another appointment. For us, the truth had stood up and stayed standing. Outside, the storm rinsed everything but couldn't scour grief. I held the umbrella over Mama, the slick sidewalk shining like a chessboard. Her tears mixed with the weather, and she didn't apologize for once. I got her into the car. She folded her hands over her purse and stared out through the watery lights. I waited for words that didn't come and drove. Chicago slid by and smeared neon and brake lights bleeding red into puddles. The letters' words beat inside my chest like a second heart. Quiet women carry heavy truths. Set them down. 33 years of holding my breath to take up less room. 33 years of a father who only saw what reflected him back. This was the first exhale that didn't taste like asking permission. I pulled into Mama's driveway, headlights sweeping the vinyl siding where my prom photo used to hang. Justice for me had a price for her. She had lost her mother, and the last good lie about her husband in the same week. She gave it to you, Mama whispered. All of it. She gave me a chance, I said. And I'm not taking it from you. Half is yours. Kiana, I don't want anything but to know she saw me. She did, I said. You stayed. That's its own kind of brave. Days blurred, calls, signatures, embossed seals, numbers that didn't feel like they belonged to me. I moved through it like I moved through a checklist on the flight line. One square at a time, no drama, all discipline. The Bronzeville brownstones sold fast. People fought over the block, the front stoop selfies, not the history held in the paint. I let them. Money hit my account in a number that made me sit down. I wired half to Mama with a memo line that read, "For every time you held me up." She called sobbing. "It's too much." "It's paper," I said. "You taught me to survive him. Grandma taught me to live." Storms don't disappear, they loiter. 3 days after the reading, a knock came. I opened my apartment door to Leonard, wet suit and no umbrella, hair flattened, polish rinsed off. He looked smaller without a stage. "What do you want?" I asked. "We need to talk," he said. "We don't." He swallowed. "I didn't know she'd do that. Leave it to you." "To you." "Why not me?" I asked. "Because you're not." He stopped, throat working. "You're not family anymore. The word fell between us and didn't bruise. She didn't see it that way, I said.
You'll give it back, he said.
Do what's right. You mean fund your theater? He flinched. You don't understand.
I do, I said.
You made choices. Now they're home. He took a step closer, voice dropping. I don't have anything left. The business is failing. Tiana took the baby to Dallas. Won't answer. I don't know who I am without. He gestured vaguely, like wealth and women were furniture someone stole. You have something, I said. What? He sounded hopeful, like a kid at a window. Consequences. The word landed harder than any sermon could. He blinked slow, looked past me into warm lamplight and the framed photo of Mama and me at the lake, hair braided, cheeks sunstruck. Kiana, please. I just wanted to see if you still cared. A laugh scraped out of me. The woman who begged you to approve of her died the night you called my uniform an embarrassment. I touched the small pin at my collar, the wings dull in the hallway light. You don't get her back. You don't get me. Rain tapped steady. 2 worlds stood 3 feet apart. Behind me, cinnamon and clean laundry. Behind him, a streetlight buzzing like a bad conscience.
He sagged.
I don't know who I am. That's your work, I said, soft but final. He waited for me to rescue him. I didn't. He turned and walked into the wet. A thick envelope arrived a week later, heavy paper, state seals, the machinery of transfer. I set it on the counter and circled it for hours. Open it and the permission slips I'd been writing for everybody but me would expire. Fear of freedom wears 100 names. I recognized them all. Night fell. I slid it open. Pages slid out. Deeds, titles, balances. Grandma's name looping sure across signatures. My eyes snagged on one line. Property, 114 Larkin Street, Riverbend, Mississippi. Deeded to Kiana Rhodes. Riverbend, where Grandma grew up, where the Yazoo throws a silver ribbon past clapboard porches, where she learned to read under a library fan that rattled like cicadas. She called it the only place she ever felt like her feet belonged to her. You planned this, I said to nobody. The quiet didn't deny it. I drove south 2 weeks later. Riverbend greeted me with a blinking light, a diner that smelled like bacon and gossip, and magnolias holding rain like pearls. On Main, across from a shuttered post office, a dusty storefront waited, its sign ghosting. Turn the page in sun-faded paint. Inside, bare shelves, sagging boards, the shadow of a counter. Most would see wreckage. I saw a room waiting to matter again. I'll take it, I told the number on the sign. Ma'am, you don't even want an inspection? Asked Wayne Holloway, a man with a preacher's cadence and calloused hands. I've seen enough, I said. By the end of the week, it was mine. A handshake in a booth, coffee rings like halos on paper. No fanfare, just a thrum in my chest that said, finally, something that belongs. There was nothing glamorous about the first days. I traded my blues for busted jeans and a hoodie, tied my hair up, and bled blisters into my palms. I scrubbed, sanded, patched, painted the walls a honey that could hold morning. When the floor threatened to chew through my boots, Wayne introduced Jacob. Quiet, careful, smelling like cedar and black coffee. We laid reclaimed planks till the room felt steady underfoot. You sure about the name? Jacob asked, palm on the new counter. The hearth, I said. Not turn the page? The hearth ain't what you sell. It's what you give. He considered that, then grinned. Good kind of place. I built the menu from Grandma's recipe cards, slanted ink, butter stains like fingerprints. Orange zest muffins with a whisper of clove took 4 tries to get right. The 4th split open in my hands, steam curling, citrus rising. Gratitude tightened my throat. More butter next time, I told the air, hearing her laugh. Opening day wasn't a ribbon cutting, just a hand-painted sign flipped to open, a bell over the door that chimed like memory, and me in an apron, flour soft on my sleeves. 2 sisters in church hats split a slice of pie and declared it worth staying for. A night shift nurse nursed a coffee and a scone, eyes closing like prayer with the first sip. A boy with tired eyes did algebra under a sunpatch, cocoa gone cold beside him. No one asked who I used to be. They took me as the woman I was making. He came on a Thursday, fog pressed to the glass. I was polishing the door when a shape paused across the street. Leonard. No smirk.
No shine.
Just a man stripped of script. He stepped inside. The bell rang. Conversation thinned. You did all this? He asked. Yes. It's beautiful, he said, voice shaking. Kiana, I'm sorry. I stayed behind the counter. This isn't a confessional. I lost everything. The company. The house.
She's gone.
Took my boy. I don't know who I am. I came around the counter, close enough to see the years grooved deep. You still have something, I said.
What?
Room to change, I offered, then held his gaze. And consequences. He swallowed hard. Silence did what speeches never could. He left. The bell chimed once, clean and final. That evening, I set a warm muffin, more butter this time, before Mama by the window. She laughed through new tears. Evelyn would be proud, she said. For the first time, I believed her. And as the bell over the door sang again, I realized this was never about inheritance, or even revenge. It was about building a life from the pieces they tried to break. A life that finally belonged to me. Thank you for watching. Please like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more stories like this.